Yo, what is up, everybody?
What's going on, everyone? What's going on? Today we got a very special guest. We got three-time Super Bowl champion for the San Francisco 49ers. We got Randy Cross. How's it going, Randy? It's an honor and privilege having you on. Appreciate you, man.
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. How long have you guys been doing this?
Not long.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a
Like a
49ers podcast for I think since 2021, but we've created a new channel, a podcast where we do retired current NFL player interviews, just to get their perspective, their insight on their journey, how they became the players they are to this day and stuff like that. So this new podcast pretty much started about a month or so, not too long, but
well, good for you, because these platforms need some younger voices. It's refreshing.
Yeah. Yep. But we'll get right into it without no further ado. Obviously, played 13 seasons for the 49ers, drafted in, I believe, 1976, second round pick 42, I believe. But we'll start off with your early days. Obviously, you went to UCLA. You won the Rose Bowl over Ohio State, I believe. How was that journey? Just in UCLA. Tell me about your journey starting from then.
Well, it was a little bit circuitous, I guess you would say. I was mainly a track guy. I played a good amount of football. I played 4 years of football, but the only reason I ever got to football, I was a baseball player until the 9th grade, and then my dad decided I was going to go to an all-boys Catholic school, which didn't go over real big with me at the time. But I went there, and he said, go out for football, because that'll be the best way to meet people if you don't know anybody. So I went out for football, and 21 years later, I retired from the NFL. So I was pretty lucky. You got to say, you got to be at the right spot in the right time quite a few times during that many years. But football came to be my how I made my living, and then I found a way to make a living talking about football, which was also pretty cool.
Definitely. That's awesome, man. Yeah. So you played for UCLA. You won the Rose Bowl over Ohio State. That was pretty nice. And then the College Football Hall of Fame in 2011. Tell me about that a little bit.
Well, it was fantastic. Until you get into the process, or until the process kind of identifies you, you don't know, how complicated it is and how many different steps there are to that College Football Hall of Fame. But I was definitely honored. My old offensive line coach and longtime UCLA head coach, Terry Donahue, kind of spearheaded the whole thing for me. And it was great. I've got a couple other teammates that are also College Football Hall of Famers off that team. I mean, John Shara, our quarterback, is a member. And on the defensive side of the ball, Jerry Robinson is a member of the College Football Hall of Fame, because he was a freshman when I was a senior, and all he did the next 3 years was become the first consensus 3-time All-American.
Mm-hmm.
But UCLA was a pretty interesting place to be in the early 70s. It was a great basketball school, evidenced by the career of Bill Walton, who sadly just passed away. And
rest in peace.
Yeah, and we were pretty good in football. My first couple of years, we were real good. Then Pepper Rogers left and went to Georgia Tech, and Dick Vermeil came in. And my third year, we were okay. We were kind of finding our legs. But my senior year, we finished up. I think it was 9-2-1 that year, and we ended up in the top 10 and beat the number one team in the country in the Rose
That's some
Bowl.
Eagles type numbers right there.
Oh yeah, but that's kind of the way you want to go out. And I was lucky to go out of my college career. My last game was a Rose Bowl win, and my professional career, my last game was a Super Bowl win. So I highly advise riding off into the sunset that manner.
That's definitely a way to,
Coincidence.
that's definitely a way to end your college career and then your NFL career. Like, you can't ask for anything better, you know what I'm saying? But
No, you can't.
That's definitely awesome, man. Definitely awesome to hear that. But obviously, call me biased, whatever, you came to the best team in the NFL and the 49ers, played with Joe Montana, who's arguably one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. I mean, tell me about that, man. You were a great asset. You helped us win 3 championships. I mean, like, back in those days, man, guys like Joe Montana, Roger Craig, Jerry Rice, how was it just playing around such just like amazing talent, and then you yourself, plugging yourself on that team and then doing the things that you did to help us get there? Like, how was just the core team, the players you played with and all that stuff?
Yeah, there's a couple Super Bowls. Specifically, there were 4 offensive linemen: John Ayers, Fred Quillen, myself, and Keith Fahnhorst. That we were there not only through that year and 2 Super Bowl wins, we were also there for 2 back-to-back 2-14 years. We were there for some really, really bad years. So the Niners had made some terrible trades. They traded for OJ my year in '76 when I got drafted. Right before the draft, our GM traded for OJ Simpson, which was more of a PR move than anything else because the guy couldn't run. But then going into my 3rd year, they traded for Jim Plunkett,
mm-hmm.
which worked out slightly. I mean, first was Jim Plunkett, then was OJ, and that didn't. Neither one of those worked out well. Plunkett was still a really good quarterback. We just didn't have enough offensive linemen and offensive skill guys around him to support him. So wisely, Al Davis picked him up when our guy cut him, and he gave Jim basically a year to kind of heal and get over getting beat up. And all he did in 1980 in his first year as a starter is win them a Super Bowl. So Bay Area was a good place to be. Let's put it that way.
Definitely. I mean, that's awesome, man. But when you were on the team, we played the Bengals twice in the Super Bowl. The first Super Bowl that you were on the Niners for, that the victory over the Bengals, I think it was like 26-21. That was the first Super Bowl with Joe Montana that you helped win, and then the blowout 38. It was a pretty good score for the Niners, against the Dolphins, and then
No, you can go ahead. We kicked their ass.
Yeah. But yeah, to keep it simple, yeah, we did. You know what I'm saying? And then that the next Bengals Super Bowl where we won again. But out of those 3, which one of yours was your favorite? I mean, there's a lot of options to choose for, but I mean, a Super Bowl is a Super Bowl. But in your mind, I mean, what was your favorite?
Well, I tell people all the time, it's because I get asked that all the time. I also have 3 kids, and it's equally as hard to, people, who's your favorite? I don't have a favorite. And when you have kids, I don't suggest you ever have a favorite. But, the first one is really, really special. And winning that game, Super Bowl 16, was incredible, especially, considering how bad we had been. Winning the second one was, we were the first team to ever win 18 games. And, we beat the Dolphins, who supposedly were better than us.
I think that was Dan Marino's first Super Bowl. Yeah.
That was his only Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was his only.
It was his second year in the league, and he had just set about every
just giving Jalen
record known to man.
So. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. And the third one was my last game, so that also has a pretty special status, but that the '84 team, Super Bowl 19, that was the best team I played on, and the '87 team after that strike in '87 was the best team I played on that didn't win a Super Bowl.
Definitely. Yeah, I still remember that last Super Bowl with the Bengals, the 2016 victory where Joe Montana hit John Taylor to win that. I believe,
2016.
yeah, with 30, I think it was like 30 something second left, 30
Yeah.
yes, something seconds left, and then he hit John Taylor for the victory. That was awesome to see. Obviously, as like a young fan, I go back and watch all those great highlights, and it's just great to have someone that's been a part of that, legacy. And that's definitely awesome, man.
Yeah, and that's also not to be a complete smartass, but given the last three times they've been in the Super Bowl, I think Niner fans are beginning to appreciate they got a little spoiled when every time they got into a Super Bowl they won.
But hey, at least your coach knew the overtime rules.
Man, don't bring. I'm so.
Why you got to go there like that?
I'm an Eagles fan, okay?
He's an Eagles fan, yeah, but
Yeah.
hey, man, it's obviously as a a kid. I haven't.
How'd that 10-0 start go for you last year?
Yeah, well, 1-6. Yeah,
Man.
I'd rather have you go out there and be the offensive coordinator. Yeah, I don't want no Brian Johnson.
Oh
That's
man,
funny.
as a kid, it's frustrating to not see the Niners win the Super Bowl. Like
Dude, you're not gonna see it anytime soon. I'm sorry.
I mean, hey, I got all the respect I have for Kyle Shanahan, but he's got to get it done at some point. You know what I'm saying? So
there are probably 5 or 6 teams in the NFL that currently have that proverbial window open, and the Niners are one of them. And really, that's all you can ask for, and it's because of the job that Lynch and Shanahan, have been given, the contracts they've been given. They've been given the leeway they've been given by the Yorks, specifically Jed, and it's not hard to understand. And you don't hear it enough from enough teams. Your job is not to win. Your job is to win the championship.
right,
And
exactly.
anything less than that is just not acceptable. So I'm sure this has been a pretty miserable offseason for those 31 teams that can't say that.
Exactly.
Like you said that the Super Bowl window is open for 5-6 teams. Without the Niners, who do you think those teams are?
Well, I put Philly in there. I put your team in there.
All I need to hear.
I think Kansas City's obviously in that slot, as are the Buffalo Bills. On the NFC side, it can be one of another couple of teams. I guess, eventually Dallas has got to win a playoff game.
Oh, you hate to say it, but yeah.
Eventually. It may not happen in any of our lifetimes.
I don't know. As long as they got Dak and that bum-ass head coach, I don't think they're...
But I think also a team that's going to be really, really tough are the Dolphins. And that whole AFC East as a division is just getting tougher and tougher. And you want sleepers, I think you go to the South on both sides.
Yeah, but Randy, it's you were more of that versatile offensive lineman for the Niners. When you got drafted, you played center, and then you played center for like a season or two, and then you moved to guard, and you finished off your season at center again before you retired. How was it's because that's definitely not an easy thing to do. Facing a lot of adversity. Playing positions that you haven't in the past. How is that flexibility? How do you say that word? I can't say it right now.
Flexibility.
The versatility.
Yeah, that versatility. Yeah. How was that for you? Because
it was something I kind of came natural. I did a lot of different things as far as the different sports. So, I was used to sort of multitasking. And in college, my freshman year, I played defense.
Nice.
My sophomore year, I played center. My junior year, I played guard. My senior year, we had 9 really good offensive linemen, so we had 2 offensive lines. So on the first line, I played guard, and on the second line, I played center. and we just rotated every 2 series on people. We just wore people out. We ran the ball like crazy. And then when I got to San Francisco, they told me I was going to be a center. And then when Bill Walsh got there in '79, he and Bob McKittrick, his offensive line coach, told me that they wanted to run a scheme that featured pulling and trapping and running guards, and that I was going to be one of those. So I did that, for, most of the rest of my career. My next to last year, in the middle of the '87 season, Fred Quillen blew out his knee. So I moved back over to center, and, that's when Jesse Sapolo and Guy McIntyre got their shots. And then the next year in '88, I played center between those two guys. So being able to, there was an old saying in sports: the more things you can do, the faster you wear out.
Yeah.
But, the more things you can do, I choose to look at it as the more things you can do, the more important you can be. I mean, I also snapped for all the punts until midway through the '87 year in the NFL, and my entire career I snapped on extra points and field goals. So I was kind of used to being that kind of guy.
So, you brought up, of course you played center, or, right guard. Who is currently your favorite offensive lineman in the league?
I'm a big Zach Martin fan, I think, with Dallas. I also, who else? I like guys. I tend to default to people that can run and people that can move. That's why Williams at San Francisco at left tackle to me is so appealing, because he just flipping kills people when he gets
Jason
out.
Kelce?
Kelce could do that well coming out of center. But I think you look at a guy like Zach Martin. I think he's been All-Pro every year he's been in the league. He's been in the Pro Bowl every year he's been in the league. And, he is that good. Now,
it just sucks that he's on a sucky team.
Yeah, well, I mean,
shout out to Dallas.
Everybody's got their burden to bear.
I think everybody hates Dallas. I think even Dallas fans.
Hey, they're America's team. How could that be true?
I don't know how much they're America's team anymore. So
yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I hope you're enjoying all this green color behind me.
Oh yes, I love it.
I thought so.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, this is a question I was really wanting to ask you. How is it for a guy like Jerry Rice? How is it playing with the guy who's, or I think, best wide receiver in NFL too, like 14 1,000-yard seasons. I mean, the dude stayed durable, played for like 20 seasons, 200 plus touchdowns. Like, how is it like playing with a guy like Jerry Rice on the team?
Well, I mean, hell, he's arguably there's a less than a handful of other players.
Mm-hmm.
I would say realistically, maybe 2, 3 tops that you could argue are the greatest players ever, regardless of position. I happen to think, you've got guys like Jerry and Jim Brown and Lawrence Taylor are sort of in a class by themselves, but you could also throw some other bodies, in that. But Jerry was, he and Roger Craig worked as hard as any players I ever played with. I mean, they worked insanely hard, especially in the off season, but also during the season. And Jerry was a pro's pro. He worked on his catching. He worked on everything. And, when he first got to the NFL, he had some drops. He had some issues. He had less than stellar moments his first year. But I tell you what, he spent, of those 20 years, he tortured teams for 19. And I mean nonstop torture. And he was always the guy. In, supposedly in the combine or the timing before the 85 draft, he ran like a 4.65 or a 4.7 40, but I never saw anybody catch him. He was as fast as he needed to be. and he was basically better than anybody else. So, of all the Hall of Fame type players that I played with, he and Joe were both what you would refer to, and probably Ronnie Lott were what you'd call cheat codes.
Shout out to Corey. Yep, Ronnie Lott. Yeah. I'm not a Niners fan, but I do give y'all a lot of credit. Y'all did have a good past. Your present isn't that good, but
Yeah.
your past was good. So.
Well, say the same thing about your Eagles. So
Yeah. We had a prison in our stadium. That's not at one point. So
you just had a few empty decades there for a while. So you guys are young. When I was born, and that's a long time ago, the Eagles were really good in the 50s and early 60s. And then they dropped off the map for a handful of decades.
yeah, then we came back, and 2017, with this dude right here, Nick Foles, and I'll give Carson Wentz some credit. I mean,
Arizona
he's the
Wildcats.
reason we're there. Yeah.
Yep. Randy, what was your favorite regular season game apart from the Super Bowls? What was your favorite regular season game?
God, we had a bunch of them. When we got really good playing, going into a game,
Knowing that you're gonna win.
Well, you're gonna win. It's just a matter of how much. If you screw up, it's going to be close. If you don't screw up, they got no chance. Regular season, probably we played a game in 1980 against Eli and Peyton's dad. Was the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, Archie Manning, and they were ahead at halftime, 35-7, and we came back and beat them. That was probably, until we won Super Bowls, that was my favorite game.
Definitely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you were inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame, I believe it was 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And you were inducted with, a lot of guys. I believe Deion Sanders is one of them.
Yeah.
And
Desmond Howard.
Desmond Howard.
Yeah. Barry Allen.
How was it like?
Coach. We had a bunch of guys.
Yeah. How was it like? Getting inducted to that, like, of course it was an honor, but like, with all those guys as well.
It was. I've always been, since I started playing it, I was kind of a fan of football because I grew up a baseball fan.
Same here.
So when I started playing it, I became more and more of a football fan. So, meeting some of these guys, some of the guys that were inducted in my class were a good deal older than me back then when we got in. So, and I know who they were. They had played in the old Southeastern Conference, and some of them had played in the old ACC. But it was really cool. The more I looked into it, the more and now back then the College Football Hall of Fame was located in South Bend, Indiana. Mm-hmm. Now it's in Atlanta, not far from here, which is very nice. And if you ever get a chance, check it out. I mean, they got a great website, collegefootballhallofame.com. But I mean, the site itself it's really interactive for the fans, and it's in a good place because trust me, I moved to the Atlanta area. I moved my family down here in the end of '92, and I had no idea that I was under the delusion that I played a sport. I found out I play a religion. Because in the South, football is taken very, very seriously.
So I got this question. You said growing up you were a big baseball fan. You didn't really, think about football.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite baseball player growing up?
Without a doubt, not even close. Sandy Koufax. And my favorite team were the Dodgers. And they were good back then. That's been one consistent thing.
Well, they're not good right now.
The sunrise. Yeah, wait. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and the Dodgers are going to kick people's ass in baseball. That's been pretty much guaranteed since I've been a fan. But I was born in Brooklyn, so I didn't come by the Dodger allegiance in a haphazard way. I went to games when I was a little kid in the old days, back when they were at Ebbets Field in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm. So another thing, how was it like experiencing the catch in 1982 with Dwight Clark? That was a great play in the NFC Championship game against the Cowboys to send us to the Super Bowl. How's that seeing that in person?
Yeah, it was. It was. It was a fantastic drive.
Mm-hmm.
The best part of that drive was the fact that we were running the ball predominantly down the field against them because they had their nickel defense in. And, I remember running into Mike Ditka in Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
I think, and it wasn't that Super Bowl. It was after we beat Miami because we had beaten Chicago in the championship game. So their staff was in the Pro Bowl. And I was laughing because I had mentioned that drive. And I said, you know what? I thought, weren't you on the sideline screaming? And he said, yeah, I'm on the sideline screaming. I'm saying, get the damn nickel off the field. Put the defense back on the field. Because we ran the ball really effectively down the field. Joe threw some unbelievable dimes on that drive. And then the catch, which, you got to understand, just a point of reference, I had mentioned that we had lost a lot. The Niners had almost had great years in the 50s and 60s and 70s. Early 70s, but they had lost in the playoffs to the Dallas Cowboys, both at Kezar and at Candlestick. And so
and now that role's kind of reversed.
Yeah, but and it was more than our pleasure to kind of return the favor. But that's also a tradition of a team.
It's a tradition for all teams.
Until you change that sort of mindset. That's something, because it's not the media's fault, but they bring it up all the time, and you can't help but hear about it. You can't help but be really, really aware of it, especially if it's kind of a negative stat.
Definitely. Yeah, that statue in Levi's. I wish to see it one day, dude. That it's different, seeing it in person. The dude jumped really freaking high, like. Dang.
Here's the thing. The Niners and the Eagles actually have something in common. They both have great catches in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Both legendary catches. First off, one of them included this dude right here, Nick Foles. And then the other one involved Dwight Clark.
You're calling that reverse pass to the quarterback a great catch?
It was. I mean, legendary. I mean,
okay. It was a fun play. It was a fun play. It really was.
You want Philly?
But Dwight's catch didn't really surprise too many of us, but it definitely surprised the heck out of everybody on the Dallas team. That's for sure.
Dallas.
He jumped pretty good. But he and Joe, we used to play on the off-season basketball team, all the charity basketball events we played in, and they could both go. They were really good basketball players, and they could both get up. And Dwight showed it there.
Also, another thing, how was the transition from? Well, I know there's a lot of politics and stuff behind it, and I don't know if you want to get into all that, but how was the transition from Candlestick Park to Levi's now? I know a lot of people have mixed feelings. Tell me about that a little bit. Like,
well, I mean, initially, there was just kind of an issue at Levi because there was no feel to that stadium. It didn't have much of a presence, and there was no really home field advantage. And there's only one way to develop that, and it's not complicated. You got to be good, and that makes the fans excited, and that means they go crazy when you play. That means they go crazy when you score and do something. And now you look back over these last it's been almost 20 years now at Levi.
Hmm.
That place is really not fun for teams to go into on the other side. And that says nothing of the sun in your face in an afternoon game and all that stuff, and how early in the year you can bake on that side of the field and all that. It's that the fans make it a crazy, crazy deal. And when I first got to San Francisco, they always talked about the 49er faithful, which were the fans in general. And we got bad for a while, but we never lost all our faithful. Now they've got more faithful than they can put in the seats, and that's a good situation to have.
I think every team has that besides the Panthers. And the Bears.
Wait, how do I? Yeah, but that's I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of the move. I mean, Levi's is nice and all. I haven't been to the stadium. I haven't seen it in person yet.
The only stadium you've been to is the Link. And Cherishing Park.
I live near Philly. I live near Philly, but no, screw this. Man, I hope that stadium gets taken down. That stadium is so trashy, bro. It's terrible. It's terrible. But you got, you got to respect the fans over there.
The Niners did what they had to do. That's the only way to really look at it. The Candlestick was a huge home field advantage. It was an unbelievable place to play in a night game, and teams hated going in there and facing them. But like I said, when you make that change, the building has to kind of develop its own personality. The crowd has to sort of develop how it's going to sound, how it's going to feel, and that takes time, and that takes winning. And the Niners weren't exactly dominant at times, early on when they were in that stadium. It made it kind of tough, but everything's hunky-dory now.
Definitely. I mean, it is what, I mean, I guess you could say we had to do it for the better, but there was a lot of great memories we could cherish from Candlestick. The pick at the stick with Navarro Bowman. That was a great play. Shout out to Patrick Willis. I think he tipped or someone. I think it was Bowman. Yeah, but shout out to that. The catch. I mean, there were a lot of.
It'll be really cool, by the way, in August when Willis goes in the Hall of Fame. I think that's fantastic. Patrick's a good man and a fantastic player, and richly deserves the recognition.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I think P. Willie, he's one of the best to do it, man. And it was too long for him to be in the Hall of. Like, they should have done it a lot earlier. Like, I don't know why it took that long. And Roger Craig needs to go in there too. Like,
I agree.
It's hard, but like, do you think there's a little bit of like negativity, like with that one fumble he had in the championship game against the Giants? Do you think that one play like really resembles what? Because I don't think it's stupid to think that, because the dude's like, he was 1,000-yard receiver or rusher and receiver. Like in that, for that one fumble to like resemble his entire career is just
I agree. I'll be honest with you. I don't think it does. I think it's a combination of sort of the bogey for some positions and some players tends to move as to what the criteria is, and number of yards, length of career, those type of things. I believe one of the most important criteria, especially for skill players, is, can you tell the story of the NFL and not mention him? And as far as running backs go, I mean, there was nobody that did what he did when he was doing it. Nobody. I mean, he went 1,000 and 1,000 in the same season, and no one did that again for I don't know how many years, until the guy from Arizona did it, Terry Metcalf. But I don't know what to tell you. I try to figure that one out every year when we get to that time of the year, and hopefully someday that'll be taken care of, but we'll see.
Yep.
Yo, what's up, John?
Spongy, do you have any more questions?
I mean, okay. Hey, Carguest, do you have any more questions? Because, I'm going to finish it off how I usually finish it off.
Oh, yeah. We
Do
got
you
that
want to
covered,
get to
but-
that yet?
Well, let's see. John Jay, I appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you. I think another thing I want to bring up. How is it like working for your analyst now? How is it like working for CBS?
Being on TV has been fantastic. Like I said, I have no delusions. I've been pretty lucky. I spent 21 years playing football, and I've spent the last 35 going on now talking about it. So life is good. I'm blessed. It can be a very competitive business. It is a very competitive business, but luckily it's something you either can or you can't do. And it's got nothing to do with who you are. And it's got nothing to do with your stats. And it's got nothing to do with, to be blunt, you're either full of shit or you're not. And people that tend to be full tend to be better at this job.
Yep. I tend to agree to that. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I think that's all the questions I have for today. But Spongy, you can get to what you wanted to get to before.
Okay. This is not a football question.
Okay.
But I like to ask this question because it's a little controversial. I like to ask it at the end of every show. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Is a hot dog a sandwich? Well, it's meat between bread, so I guess you'd have to say yes. I know a lot of people will lose their mind on that, but yeah.
All right, we got one more comment in the chat, and then I think we're going to end it there. Carcass, if you want to pull up that question. Carcass.
Yeah.
You want to bring up that final question?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Kyle Shanahan's 7 seasons as the 49ers head coach? Randy?
I think he and the Niners are lucky to have each other. I think the smartest thing they ever did was hire he and John Lynch and tie them at the hip with contracts. And they get extended every now and again, but they tie them together. And I think it's been one of the real keys to their success. And I think Kyle's from a great football family, and he'll get his. I know he catches a lot of flack, but I think he's a pretty good coach, and he's got a great job, and he appreciates it.
Yep. Yeah. I'm fine with Kyle Shanahan. Just get it out there. Like when he came in 2017, I thought it was a really good hire. Obviously, not the way I wanted to end last year for the Niners, but I'm still optimistic. We'll get it. We'll get it done. We got the team.
Even I would know the overtime rules. Okay.
Hey, there's no shame in losing to Patrick Mahomes. Let's be honest. There's no shame in that.
Due to overtime rules? Okay.
There were a lot of. First of all, I hate to say it, but it shouldn't even have gone into overtime because this dude Kyle Shanahan blew another 10-point lead.
Yep.
So overtime shouldn't even have happened. But
just say everything that I love to hear.
All right, yeah. Screw the Eagles, anyways. I don't even think they're gonna make it to the playoffs this year.
Go Birds.
Wait, hot take sandwich and hot dog are not a sandwich. Hey,
so what is a sandwich? A sandwich is a sandwich.
We had another player on. He said anything in between or stuffed into something is a sandwich. So I'm just gonna go with that. But Eagles are the Bears. Eagles are the Bears of the NFL. That's funny. That's actually funny.
No, they're two
Randy,
NFL teams. That don't make no sense.
Randy, I appreciate you for coming on, man. It's been an honor.
Thank you.
Looks beautiful.
Let them know where people could find you on social media if you like to say that.
The best place to find me is probably either online at randycross.com or on X at Randy Cross FB.
Cool, definitely. Yep, it's an honor. Other than that, I think that's what we got for today. Randy, thank you, and we'll catch everyone next time. Let's go Niners,
All
though.
right.
Bang, bang,
Go
bang.
Bears!
Thanks a lot. You guys keep it up. Like I said, good to hear some young voices. I appreciate it.
Yep, thank you, man. Yep, have a good
All
one.
right. Talk to you later.
Go Bears.
Why is it not letting me end the stream? What the?
Fly, Eagles fly on the road.
Do you want me to
to
like drop the link? John Jay wants to pop in.
victory. No. I mean, I'll go live after this. That's fine.
Oh, you're going live, right? Never mind.
I'll go live.
All right, see you.
Yep. See you.